All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go from Mugello. Giancarlo and Adam Barker have the front row. Max Gunther and Rudolph Gunther on the second row. Simon Zierk and Cody Kennedy round out the field here this morning. Sketch, I haven't been outside today, but I can tell you tomorrow it's gonna be really hot. 105 with a much higher heat index. All the drivers making final adjustments to their cars. Sketch predicting Cody Kennedy to finish second. Cody went back to pit road. Might be, no, Cody's not going to grid. Cody's going to have to start from pit road. Something has gone wrong with Cody Kennedy. Drivers head out on the track for that one full pace lap around this 3¼ mile track. See you later, Sketch. Have a great day, buddy. Giancarlo leading him around on the pace lap through that first sector. This track, and especially that first sector, is a lot of fun to drive. Then you start back down the hill into that second sector with long sweeping turns. It is so easy to go off track through there. Quick look at the track temperature as it gets later and later, holding at 121. Air temp has gone up, now 83 degrees. And we are expecting temps to go up throughout the morning. Obviously, it's just before 1 p.m. track time. So it will get hotter. Drivers, we're talking about the tire temps reaching upwards of 250 degrees. That is extremely hot for a road tire and could have a significant impact here this morning. Giancarlo looks like he is bump drafting the pace car through the pace lap, trying to get him to pick up the pace. It is one of those longer pace laps here. The Porsche pace car will hit pit road momentarily, and we are about to go green here in Mugello. The pace car is in. Giancarlo fires, they are away. Green flag is in the air. Max Gunther on the attack, looks underneath Adam Barker for second. Cody Kennedy has rolled off of pit road, back behind. Max now into second, Barker into third, Simon Zierk battling with Rudolph Gunther for fourth and fifth. Rudolph Gunther comes out ahead for the moment. The Porsche's handling advantage definitely going to come into play here in Mugello, especially through the first sector with all those tight turns. Max Gunther in second is not letting Giancarlo get away. Adam trying to stay right with both of them. Rudolph Gunther and Simon Zierk's battle has set them back just a little bit. They've got a lot of ground to make up early. Cody Kennedy, who started from pit road, even more ground to make up. Giancarlo comes up the front stretch. He will lead lap number one. Max Gunther, Adam Barker nose to tail. Adam looks to the outside into turn one. Keeps the nose in as they go into the left-hander. He'll have the advantage, but looks like Max just pulls away. Adam still sits in third. Simon Zierk, Rudolph Gunther, fourth and fifth. Simon has fought back past Rudolph. While the battling goes on behind, Giancarlo begins to check out. Now a 1.3 second lead over Max. Simon Zierk trying to close the gap ahead. Rudolph staying with him. Cody Kennedy has a lot of ground to make up after starting from pit road. The lone Ferrari is out front. One Ferrari, one Audi, one Ford, one BMW, and two Porsches. A pretty well balanced field out here this morning. The BMW of Simon Zierk, having moved into fourth, is closing the gap on second and third, but Giancarlo is pulling away. He just set the fastest lap so far this morning. It is also the only lap under the 150 mark so far. We expect the laps to actually get slower just due to the track tip. Heard all the drivers talking about how badly that left front heats up and goes away. After a few laps, it is a struggle for any of these cars to turn right. Max still in second, Adam in third. Back behind, Simon is pulled away from Rudolph Gunther and is trying to close back in on Adam and Max. Giancarlo, no surprise, he is in another time zone already. His lead about 3 seconds. Good morning to Blake and Monica. Thanks for the like. Giancarlo leads lap number 3. Max and Adam still second and third, losing ground. Simon Zierk back and forth, continues to close in. Rudolph Gunther back in fifth, and after starting from pit road, Cody Kennedy in 6th, just trying to gain some ground on the cars ahead. Going into race 2 this morning with the full field invert, the Mustang of Cody Kennedy will start out front. That ought to cause some chaos. Don't forget, folks, come back tonight, 7:30 Eastern. We have a ton of great racing coming. BRR Cup Series, followed by SMR Gen 4 Cup Series, a new broadcast starting tonight. Definitely going to be a busy day here at HTSAI. We have a lot of stuff we are working on, including the new and improved merch store. You can find the link to it on our Facebook. Also, don't forget to check out the Conlift Racing team, conlift-racing.com, and check out their partner, Advanced Sim Racing. They have some great sim racing gear, everything you could want and more. Adam Barker has made the move into second. It did not look like Adam could pull it off. Let's see what happened. Adam just shoots down to the inside through that first sector and clears easily. Now that was through the final turns, clears easily. Audi definitely has a big speed advantage here. Audi has the straight line speed advantage over the Porsche. The Porsche still has that handling advantage, but that little exchange has allowed the BMW of Simon Zierk to get closer. Max Gunther trying to hang with Adam Barker at the moment. Barker, though, with that straight line speed advantage and that long front straightaway. Barker able to pull away. Giancarlo comes through that big sweeping right-hander, and we mentioned a few laps ago when he set that fast lap, 149.73. Only a few laps later, and the car is already starting to fall off by over half a second. That left front tire just melting out on track. Adam Barker in second has started to put a gap on Max Gunther in third. Simon Zierk in fourth, 2.6 seconds back and closing. Rudolph Gunther back in fifth, Cody Kennedy in sixth after starting from pit road. That does mean Kennedy will start on the pole for race 2. Could be a problem if the Ford explodes when he drops the hammer. Giancarlo pulling away from Adam Barker. Max Gunther seems to be struggling to keep up with Adam. The straight line advantage of the Audi paying off here in Mugello. Simon Zierk, though, less than 2.5 seconds back. The BMW definitely on the attack this morning. But Giancarlo continues to set some blisteringly fast laps and opening up that gap now to 4.8 seconds. The Ferrari does have a lot of straight line speed. Surprisingly, last time by, both Adam Barker and Max Gunther set their fastest laps. They're definitely pushing it to the limit despite the left fronts starting to go away. Simon Zierk, though, really picking up the pace. He has gained another second on Max. He is now just 1.7 seconds back from Max Gunther. Max about 1.8 seconds back from Adam. Definitely time for Simon to catch Max and get to the top 3. Rudolph Gunther will hold on to 5th as Cody Kennedy in 6th, way behind after starting on pit road. Giancarlo's lead now over 5 seconds. Simon continuing to chop away at the gap on Max Gunther. Meanwhile, Giancarlo continues to pull away out front. The Porsche of Max Gunther will definitely have the handling advantage through the turns, but Simon is able to power out of those turns even better. And on these short straightaways, the BMW's power is a huge advantage. Giancarlo threw that big sweeping right-hander. You see all the right-hand turns, especially those sharper ones through the first sector, really eating up that left front tire. Race number 2 tire strategy will be a huge factor in who pulls off the win. Simon's here trying to close the gap. Max Gunther is open just a little bit. He is also getting a little bit closer to Adam Barker. Now only 1.5 seconds behind Barker as Simon has lost ground to the Porsche of Gunther. Team Gunther, only 2 of their drivers here today. Yannick not here. Sounded like Giancarlo was feathering the throttle up through that sector. Race 2, we will do a ride-along with a couple of these drivers. Simon has started to close back in on Max. And Max has started to close back in on Barker. Could this be late race tire wear problems? Giancarlo likely to see the white flag this time. Out of that final turn down that long front straightaway. There it is. Barney is waving the white flag one more time around for Giancarlo. He has a 6-second lead over Barker. Max Gunther is closing quickly. Max now just 1 second away. Simon's charge up to the top 3 has come to its conclusion. He is now 2.7 seconds back and losing ground on Max. Rudolph Gunther securely in 5th and Cody Kennedy in 6th. Max getting closer and closer to second place. Adam Barker, can he get there? And more importantly, once he is there, can he make the move? Giancarlo on his way down toward the final turn. Giancarlo into the final turn with a 5.8 second lead. He has dominated race 1 since the drop of the green, and the checker is out. Giancarlo will win race 1 at Mugello. Adam comes home in second, and a close Max Gunther finishes third. And let's see if we can talk to our top 3. Max, you came home in third, but more importantly, going into race 2, it looks like you may have an advantage late in the run. You were closing that gap quickly.
I don't know. My tire temps just went crazy. I think I had like 112 degrees on the front left, so I don't know how long I could have kept that up.
Well, you definitely had one heck of a late race charge. Obviously, the left front tire is going to be a problem for everybody going into race 2.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's really hot out there. It's taxing on the tires like crazy, especially left.
I can imagine.
Let's see.
I have to say, you guys put on one heck of a show. With the invert, it's going to be especially interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be tight, I think, because Simon is really quick, and the others just have to get through. But let's see how we manage that.
Well, great job on the podium, and good luck in race 2, buddy.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you.
Adam Barker comes home in second. Adam, that was quite a fight, and it seemed like the Audi, at least early on, was one of the fastest cars out there.
Yeah, really interesting race. It's a real battle for grip here, so we've got to be as quick as possible with the least tire usage as possible. The Audi felt real good all the way through, so I was just nursing the tires. Everyone else was complaining about front left. I was more struggling with my rear. The rear was really starting to wiggle about after a bit. So it's going to be interesting to see what we can do in the 50-minute race. But it turned real well all the way through that 20 minutes. So
it did look like late in the run that you were being caught up to. Max was closing that gap just a little. But obviously, having that advantage with the with the left rear tire being the one that's wearing, will that keep him behind you?
We'll have to see. See if he can figure out how to keep his tires a little bit longer. As soon as I got like a 2-second-ish gap, I was pretty happy with that, and maybe relaxed a little bit too much, but. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see tire strategies here. We might be stopping for all tires here, just so we can get bang a couple of really quick laps down, which it might we might not lose any time spending longer in the pits getting tires rather than just taking 2 and being quicker in the pits.
Well, definitely a lot of strategy questions. Good luck and congratulations on the podium.
Thank you.
And finally, our winner for race 1, Giancarlo. Giancarlo, no surprise to see you back in victory lane this morning. And, I mean, you just kind of checked out and left everybody behind.
I think I got kind of fortunate that Adam and Max went side by side into the first, I think, couple corners. It's always getting someone out of your draft always helps a bit.
Definitely does, and we saw you making that move the first couple laps down the front straightaway, moving all the way to the left, just trying to break that draft, and it definitely seemed to have a really good effect and gave you an opportunity to get away.
Yeah, it was. I was just trying to have them fight and let me run away. It worked out pretty well, but this next race is going to be a long and hot one, so we'll see how it goes.
Everybody has mentioned that left front tire getting hot. Obviously, everybody's having that effect, but on that long run, it just did not seem like you were falling off nearly as much as some of the others. Does the Ferrari feel like it has an advantage in the hot track?
I'm not exactly sure. I've tried to keep things kind of calm and take care of the tires a bit during that first race. I'll obviously have to do it again in the second one, but we'll see what it ends up being for how many tires to swap out.
Well, congratulations, another win, and good luck in race 2.
Thanks, Doug.
Giancarlo wins race number 1. Now with the full field invert, Giancarlo will have to drop to the tail end, and the Mustang of Cody Kennedy will start out front. Several of the drivers came out to practice pit road entry. Giancarlo has only made 4 weeks of this season. 7 of those races, 7 out of 8 races, and he has 4 wins, now 5. Can he make it 6 here? He will have to come from the back, but the smaller field should help dramatically. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Race number 2. Cody Kennedy and Rudolph Gunther on the front row. Simon Zierk, Max Gunther on the second row. Adam Barker and Giancarlo round out the field. And if you're interested in joining GT3 NSS, don't forget to drop in the comments. Let us know. They're always looking for more. Waiting for Rudolph Gunther to take to the grid. Everybody else out on track. Take a quick look at the track temperature here. We noticed during that warm-up, track temperature had gotten up to 124. It is now down to 123, but I suspect that will not last. It is now 1:45 p.m. track time. Yeah, it's gonna get hotter. Cody Kennedy will lead him around for the pace lap. Now, we have talked about it all season. Anytime somebody has hopped into the Mustang, it has no rear grip at all. With the hotter track temperature, how much of an impact will it have once they start putting some heat in these tires? Also, notice nobody weaving back and forth trying to scrub them up and heat them up. Everybody just trying to hold on with this track temperature. It's definitely going to be an interesting second race. The pit strategy could be huge. Will we see 2 tire stops or 4? we'll definitely see the front tires being changed as those left fronts will get melted. Don't forget, we still have Cody Kennedy trying to drive inside the pace car. I think he's trying to speed him up. We still have more racing to go today at 7:30 Eastern this evening. We have BRR Cup Series followed by SMR Gen 4 Cup Series. A lot of great racing still to come. Plus, you can see all of our past races, all of our past broadcasts on our YouTube channel. Cody Kennedy leading him through the last sector. That Porsche pace car will pull off out of the final turn, go to pit road. As soon as he hits pit road, Cody can fire, and I fully expect to see it. Right as soon as possible, he's going to need every advantage he can get. Through that final turn, pace car gets ready to head to pit road. And race number 2, green flag, here in just a moment. Pace car is in. Cody can fire at any point. And it looks like he has. Cody Kennedy is away. Green flag in the air. Already Giancarlo shoots high, clears Adam, and tries to clear Max into turn 1. Max fighting back, and Adam may get a run as it looks like Rudolph went wide. Cody Kennedy continuing to lead. Simon in second. Max in third. Giancarlo, Adam, and Rudolph battling it out for 4th, 5th, and 6th. Giancarlo currently in 4th, trying to close back in on Max. We saw during race 1, it does not take a lot of side-by-side before a driver can pull away. Simon now looks to the inside of the leader. Max Gunther is right there. Wow, Cody hit the sausage but keeps his foot planted. Down into the right-hander, Simon has the advantage. Max finds the open door and shoots to the inside. And Giancarlo is there. Giancarlo trying to get to 3rd now that Simon's here has the lead. Cody Kennedy fights back, has the inside out of the final turn, but his foot, oh, Barker's around. Giancarlo is around. Giancarlo is headed to pit road. What the heck happened out of that final turn? There's Adam on the inside shot. Oh, Adam just pushes. Looked like the car may have snapped loose on him. All three drivers pushing to the limit. That Mustang almost went off track. Yeah, it looks like Adam was just trying to catch the car. Giancarlo ended up in the tire wall and headed immediately to pit road. Simon Zierk has the lead with Max Gunther in second. Rudolph Gunther made his way to third. Cody Kennedy now in fourth. Adam Barker in fifth. Giancarlo way behind in sixth. Giancarlo did make a stop to get repairs. A dramatic turn of events on that first lap. Both Adam Barker and Giancarlo have a lot of ground to make up, especially Giancarlo. Max Gunther looking to the outside in turn one, trying to set up for the second turn, but can't get there. Simon still has the lead, but Max haunting his back bumper. Rudolph Gunther trying to close in. Cody Kennedy holds on to fourth. Barker closing in on him in fifth. Giancarlo back in sixth after his pit stop. He is almost a minute behind Barker. Max Gunther set the fastest lap so far, last time by. But nobody has broken the 150 mark in race 2 yet, and they might not, given the track temp. Simon still in control of the race. Max staying about 3/4 of a second back. Rudolph back in third. Cody Kennedy in fourth. Adam continuing to close in on Kennedy. Barker just 5 1/4 seconds behind Cody at the moment. Giancarlo is the fastest car on track at the moment, but he is 55.4 seconds behind Adam and over a minute behind the rest of the field. Now, we have seen Giancarlo make some big comebacks in the past. He had a wreck at Road America in turn 1 of lap 1 that set him back about 45 seconds and went on to win that race. However, the track was cooler. He had more grip. Don't know if he can pull it off here at Mugello. He did set the fastest lap last time by and is the first driver to crack the 150 mark. Up front, Simon Zierk has pulled away from Max Gunther, now about 1.2 seconds ahead. Max in second, Rudolph currently in third, Cody Kennedy in fourth. Cody's got company. Adam Barker has caught him. Adam looking for an opportunity to pass and take fourth. And it looks like Adam may take it here. Adam Barker back into fourth. He is now 11.25 seconds behind Rudolph. Giancarlo 54.25 seconds behind Cody Kennedy. Question is, how much ground can he make up? Simon's 1.25 second lead has started to shrink. Max Gunther now just 1 second behind and closing. Rudolph back in third as Barker closing in on him as well, 10.5 seconds back. Cody Kennedy in fifth, but Giancarlo quickly closing that gap. That gap now down to 51.25 seconds. He gained about 3 seconds on Cody in the last lap. However, Cody is at a distinct disadvantage this morning. He is in a Ford. Simon's lead holding at about 1 second. That first sector seems to really be where Max closes some ground. Rudolph back in third. Barker continuing to close in, now 9.5 seconds back. And Giancarlo continuing to close the gap on Kennedy. Simon's lead holding steady at 1 second. We did hear Max say late in race number 1, those tires really started going away and he didn't know how long he could push it. We're closing in on that point. The Unicorn cheering on Cody Kennedy. Angie, he's driving a Ford, just saying. I don't know either. Cody's just, I don't know. Giancarlo continuing to close in on Cody, now just over 45 seconds back. Giancarlo just in full send mode, trying to recover after that lap 1 incident. Max Gunther, meanwhile, is close right to the bumper on Simon. They have pulled a 7-second gap on third place, Rudolph Gunther. Adam Barker continuing to close in on Rudolph, now just 7.9 seconds back. That lap 1 incident really shook up the field here this morning. Simon's lead now down to 3/4 of a second as Max closes back in. However, if Simon breaks the draft on that front straightaway, he might actually be able to pull away. But Max, through the final turn, closes back within half a second. At the end of the straightaway, the gap is still half a second. Giancarlo now just 40 seconds behind Cody Kennedy. Adam Barker just 7.8 seconds behind Rudolph Gunther. Late in this race, we are likely to see some epic battles here this morning. Adam Barker and Giancarlo, after that lap 1 incident, have a lot of ground to make up. And Kennedy has had a problem. There's Cody Kennedy in the, and it was once again the back end of the Mustang just goes. We talked about earlier that Mustang has shown all season to not have any rear grip, and on a hot track like this, there it went. The top two nose to tail at the end of the front straightaway. Adam Barker still closing the gap on Rudolph Gunther. And that mistake by Cody Kennedy has helped Giancarlo dramatically. Giancarlo now 29 seconds back in closing. Max Gunther staying right on the bumper of Simon Zierk. We know that the Porsche is lacking in straight line speed. Will Max try and make the move for the lead? Oh! Wow! Close call for Max Gunther there. Went a little bit wide, trying to build some momentum. Gets a little bit of the sand. Keeps his foot in it, holds on to her. Simon still in the lead with Max in second. Giancarlo now just 25 seconds behind Cody. Adam Barker 7.8 seconds behind Rudolph. Rudolph just had his fastest lap of the race so far. An impressive feat considering how hot this track is. Track temperature has actually gone down a hair. Surprising considering it's after 2 in the afternoon at the track. Even though only dropping a couple of degrees since the start of the race, that could make a huge impact later on, especially after they get fresh rubber on these cars. Most of these drivers are probably already ready for new tires. That left front likely completely gone for some of them. Almost to the halfway point. Giancarlo now 19.5 seconds behind Cody, continuing to storm his way toward the front. He has the fastest lap of the race and is consistently the fastest driver on track by anywhere from a quarter of a second to well over a second. Giancarlo has even gained dramatic ground on the leader, now only 1 minute and 5 seconds behind. Could we see Giancarlo pull off another win like we saw at Road America a couple of seasons ago? A setback on lap 1 put him well behind at Road America, and he fought back to win. He is definitely fighting back from a lap 1 incident here today. Simon has been unable to get away from Max, and Rudolph is starting to gain some ground. In fact, Rudolph Gunther in third is gaining so much ground, he has actually put a bit of a gap on Adam. Adam was about 7.25 seconds behind Rudolph. Rudolph has now pulled it out to an 8.25 second gap. Simon and Max still nose to tail. Rudolph continues to pull a bit of a gap on Adam Barker. And Giancarlo is now just 10 seconds behind Cody Kennedy. And has gained another 2 seconds on our leader. Last time by, Giancarlo was over a second faster than everybody on the track. This is far from over for Giancarlo. If he can make up a little bit of ground on pit road by only changing front tires, that could have a... Here we go! First pit stops of the morning. Max Gunther is in. Rudolph Gunther stayed out. Simon stayed out. Will Adam is also staying out. He is in and will get tires. Will it be 2 or 4 is the question. Giancarlo now just 5 seconds behind Kennedy. Max on his way back out, a 14.5-second pit stop. I'm guessing that was front tires only for Max. Giancarlo is in. They are past the halfway point. Giancarlo will get fresh, at least front tires. See how quickly they put him down and get him going. He is down and away, over a second faster than Max. Simon Zierk out front. Is he coming in? No. The leader is staying out. Will Rudolph Gunther come in? Rudolph staying out as well. And it looks like Barker's going to stay out. Max Gunther, Giancarlo, the only 2 to have pitted so far. But Giancarlo with those fresh tires, what can he do now? It definitely behooves him for the rest of the drivers to continue to stay out. If he can lay down much faster laps. Cody Kennedy is on pit road. Simon's lead, now that pit stops are underway, 10.5 seconds. He's got a little bit of breathing room with Rudolph back behind. Adam Barker in third. Adam has started closing back in on Rudolph. He's now 6.1 seconds behind. Simon continues to stay out. Rudolph continues to stay out. Barker continues to stay out. What in the wild, wild world of sports is going on? As hot as it is, you'd think these drivers would want tires as soon as possible. This definitely is to the benefit of Giancarlo. Giancarlo now in 5th. Trying to close the gap on Max Gunther. At the moment, Giancarlo is the fastest car on track. The top 3 have not made their pit stop. Oh, a little blink from Simon. Adam Barker back in 3rd, continuing to close in on 2nd place, Rudolf Gunther. Simon Zierk is on pit road. Rudolf Gunther is on his way in. Barker stays out. Giancarlo just set one of his fastest laps of the morning. He is also still the only driver under the 150 mark. Simon on his way back out. Rudolph still on pit road. Adam Barker continues to have the lead. He is the only driver who has not pitted. Rudolph on his way out. I expect we will see Adam Barker in this time. He cannot afford to wait too much longer. He has a 21-second gap on Max at the moment, but that gap is shrinking now that Max has fresh rubber under that car. Simon Zierk now in 3rd, Rudolf Gunther in 4th, and Giancarlo in 5th. Giancarlo closing on everybody. And Barker is on pit road. He will complete the cycle of stops. Max Gunther likely to take the lead here. Max Gunther to the lead. Simon Zierk now to 2nd. Barker on his way back out in 3rd. And he will maintain 3rd place. Rudolf Gunther, though, closing in from behind. He is at full chat down the front stretch. Giancarlo still back in fifth. Still a lot of ground to make up, but he is closing. The question is, can he pick up any positions before the end of this thing? Giancarlo has the fastest laps and had the fastest pit stop by over a second. But that pit stop on lap 1 for repairs did set Giancarlo back dramatically. Rudolph Gunther now just 1.4 seconds behind Barker. And Max Gunther may be in trouble. Simon Zierk is closing back up. Rudolph Gunther continuing to close the gap on Adam. Giancarlo continues to be the fastest car on track, but he is 35 seconds behind Gunther and Barker. Max Gunther still trying to hold off Simon, but Simon less than a second behind. Simon able to make up a lot of ground on the straightaways here. Max definitely has to try and keep him out of his slipstream. The BMW has the straight line speed advantage, and down that long front straightaway could be a deciding factor. Rudolph Gunther closing back up on Barker, now just 1.3 seconds behind. None of the top four can afford to start battling. That will bring Giancarlo much, much closer. Max Gunther doing everything he can to keep Simon in his mirror. Max's pit stop about 1 second faster than Simon. That is what put him out ahead. Now Max just needs to capitalize and keep Simon in the rearview mirror. Adam Barker managing to hold Rudolph Gunther at about 1.5 seconds. Rudolph gains ground through that first sector of track. Adam opens the gap back up through the second, and they tend to be fairly even through the last sector. Giancarlo still the fastest car on track, but still 34 seconds behind. Max has been unable to shake Simon. Rudolph not letting Barker out of his sights either. Last time by, Giancarlo was well over a second faster than everybody else. But again, with just 11 minutes left to go, I don't know if Giancarlo can close enough of the gap to catch or pass anybody. Adam Barker set his fastest lap of the race last time by. Rudolph still about 1.8 seconds back in fourth. Giancarlo holding on to fifth place at the moment. And it's looking less and less like he will be able to catch up or pick up any positions. Which is unfortunate with his win in race number 1. Is likely going to move into the top 5 in points. But Adam Barker's consistency has kept him in the points lead. And once again, consistency again, coming home second in race 1 and currently running third in race 2. Rudolph Gunther still lurking less than 1.5 seconds back, looking to knock him off the podium. Simon has started to pull a gap on Max Gunther. Max now 3 seconds behind. Looks like the tires on the Porsche have just let go. That time by, he was way off pace. Looking at their last lap times, you can see the dramatic differences. Especially looking at the leader's time, 152.2 versus Giancarlo running a 150.37. Giancarlo's still the fastest car on track by over a second every lap. But 31.5 seconds back, he's going to have to gain a lot more to get into the fight. Cody Kennedy still lurking, back on track in 6th. Still a good points day for Cody. Just by finishing both races, he'll pick up several spots in the points, could move into the top 10. Max, after losing all that ground, is not gaining anything back. Just over 5.5 minutes left to go. Adam Barker ended up gaining several seconds on Max, but still far enough back he won't be able to catch up, and unfortunately, it does not look like Giancarlo will be able to fight his way back to the podium. Max Gunther still 3 seconds back in second. Third place, Adam Barker, about 16.7. Rudolph Gunther, about 1.6 behind Barker in fourth. Giancarlo looks like he has backed off of his push just a little bit, still 31.6 seconds back. Cody Kennedy back in sixth, about a minute behind. In fact, our leader Simon Zierk has caught up to Cody Kennedy. Looks like he will put him a lap down. Kennedy stays wide. Simon Zierk goes by. Max Gunther in second, still 3 seconds back. The only battle we're likely to see in the waning laps of this race will be Rudolph Gunther versus Adam Barker for third. Rudolph just set his fastest lap last time by, and it was exactly 1 second faster than Adam Barker. Simon Zierk has had one heck of a run here this morning. Led every lap early on after pit stops, reclaims the lead, and just has been checking out the whole time. Max Gunther has done everything he possibly can to close that gap and get back to the lead, just has been unable to get it done. And Giancarlo came out and won race number 1 After an incident with Adam Barker coming out of the final turn on lap 1, relegated back into 6th place, or 5th place, excuse me. Simon coming out of the final turn. We might see the white flag this time. White flag is in the air, and Cody Kennedy has had a problem. There's Cody in the Mustang. And once again, he goes through the final turn. No rear grip in the Mustang. The back end just steps out. Simon's lead, 2.9 seconds over Max. Adam has got a 2-second gap now on Rudolph Gunther. Giancarlo, sadly, 30 seconds back in 5th. Simon heads toward the final turn. Manages to hold on and dominate despite the hot track, despite everything. Holds on to it. Simon Zierk will win race number 2 at Mugello. Max Gunther comes home in 2nd. Adam Barker comes through the final turn and will come home in 3rd. Let's talk to our top 3, starting with Adam. Adam, another podium, a great points day, and man, you stayed out longer than everybody else on the tires.
Managed to keep the keep a little bit of a fuel back for the from the start. It was a little bit I don't know, a bit weird with Giancarlo in the first lap. So I was fuel saving for the whole first lap, so I knew I had a little bit in reserve, and made it with 0.2 of a liter into the pit, so pretty close, and then a great fight with Rudolph for the end there.
Definitely was. The strategy worked out great, and likely to see your points lead extend. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Adam comes home 3rd. Max Gunther in 2nd. Max there for a while. I thought you might be able to get around him, but just not enough at the end.
Yeah, the near spin down the hill, I think that killed my tires for good. And yeah, Simon was just really fast. And the question would be if he'd gotten around me if I hadn't had that spin.
Definitely is the question, but man, still a great morning overall, and a great finish here today. Congratulations.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you.
Max comes home in 2nd, and Simon Zierk pulls off the win. Simon back in victory lane, and a pretty dominant performance.
Oh yeah, that was a really good race. I was not thinking that I could get the lead again after the pit stop because Max tried to get the undertake, but yeah, it worked out. My tires were 3 laps fresher at the end, so I had more pace. And then, yeah, I was lucky and Max spun in front of me.
Well, it definitely pays off, and you definitely took off, had the pace, and got the job done. It was great to see you back in victory lane, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you, Doc.
Simon Zierk pulls off the win in race 2 at Mugello. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't forget, come back 7:30 Eastern tonight, BRR Cup Series, followed by the new SMR Gen 4 Series. We will see you tonight. Have a great day, everybody.